Guy Smith and Matthew Emmer are the director and producer of The Red Grifo, which is one of the lone local productions here at Peabody International Film Festival. And please, for all those who don't know, what is The Red Grifo?
Well, The Red Grifo initially looks like it's a movie about a car. It's actually a little more deeper than that. It's a story of how a car has kind of created the identity for a gentleman and the connection to his father and to his daughter. And kind of how the connection through the car has created a strong bond and memory for his father.
How did you come about this project?
Kind of stumbled across it. 8-9 years ago, I was working on a TV project where we were doing short videos about cars, which in the automotive niche online now there's tons of that stuff. And I had met the subject, Darren Frank, at a car show, and so initially I thought, wow, I've never seen one of these cars before because it's very rare. It's maybe 100.
For those out there who don't know what it is, it's a very exotic, very rare Italian sports car.
Yeah, it's called Grifo. It's hand built, or was hand built. They made them from '66 to '73. Total of 412 cars total.
That's a rare machine.
They had a Corvette motor, so you can imagine a lot of people might have wrecked them early on. So yeah, so I saw him at a car show, was intrigued by the car, having seen or heard of them, but not seen one in person. And then he had this binder in the back seats, and he's like, "Oh, you want to know about my car?" And half an hour later, right? A half hour later,
you knew you had something.
We had something, and he had all these pictures of the car being refurbished, and him with his father's car, just like. So I was like, "Wow, he's got some good stuff there." And so we met him, and all right, this might be someone we want to come back to for the TV project. Jump ahead a couple of years, I see him at another car show. He's winning another trophy, going across the stage. A couple of years later, I see him again, and finally I jumped out in front of him. I'm like, "Don't leave today until we talk," because something in my head is like, we need to put this story on film. Finally, even though the TV project kind of went away, we thought this is good enough to do. And then I sold him on the idea of helping me work on it, and it's been downhill since.
So yeah, so you had to recreate some of what was going on as he's telling the story. You shot it up around Charlotte, and Charlotte's never looked so good, by the way. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous. How much time went into the production?
There's a lot of pre-production that happened. We spent a lot of time scouring. Google Maps is actually a great source for finding different little pockets of, especially the greater Charlotte area. Once you leave the metro, you can kind of quickly get into the countryside. And so the recreation of upstate New York was actually Waxhaw, North Carolina.
Waxhaw, North Carolina, all your location scouts out there.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. There's just a lot of country roads. We found, just happenstance, we were driving by and there was a big red barn. And we're like, hey, that looks like a great spot. And it just so happened that the owner was out working the field. And so we pulled over and we started talking to him. And we were like, hey, would we be okay that we brought the car over, took a few pictures of it? And he's like, oh yeah. And what was interesting was that I think 2014, when we shot that scene, the barn, he said, for the backdrop was 100 years old. So it's just one of those chance meetings that we came across this gentleman out in this field, and there was a location.
Okay, you had nearly a full house, completely wrapped up in this story, which is, as you said, has so much more to do with just an exotic sports car. Will the documentary be available at some point?
We're running, I guess we call it the festival circuit this year, and as soon as that is complete, then we're going to put it. We might put it online in its entirety. I'm not sure yet. Haven't really thought that far ahead, but yeah, we're going to put it on Blu-ray and DVD. And for those who are interested, a lot of folks want to see it. But fortunately, with film festivals, if it's been put out publicly, a lot of times they're not. They don't meet the requirements for entry. But we're kind of selecting different festivals throughout this year. I know a lot of filmmakers, they just kind of will enter their films and everything, but one that takes a lot more money.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you pick the right festivals, you'll do well with the audiences, and so that there's a better connection. Someone asked me last night, like, "Oh, do you think you can win a category?" And I said, "I'm honored just to be here. I'm not worried about awards, all that stuff. Just being here to say your film, because you didn't really know what you were going into when you started it." But the fact that it's at the level that it is, to be selected for not just this festival, but other festivals, we're batting like 700. So that's
It's a good average in
That
this
that's
game.
that in itself says we did something right. So that's what's making me happy.
All right, well, good luck to both of you. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Get more at BufordFilmFestival.com and LowCountryWeekly.com. We'll see you next time.